Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Thomas and welcome back to the channel here for another video. Today's video is going to be on the topic of freelancing, and whether you're a seasoned professional with years under your belt or you're brand new to the freelance game, I've got 7 tips for you on how to become a better freelancer. Tip number 1 here is to make sure to pace yourself. And what I mean by this is you need to make sure that you're constantly monitoring your flow of work in and your flow of work out. That you're not taking on too much at once and you're not having these periods of lull where there is no client work and things kind of dry up. If you don't listen to any other tips in this video, please listen to this one because this is probably the most important piece of the video, which is why I slotted it for number 1. It's something that I've struggled with my entire life. The ultimate goal with this one is to make sure that you're creating a consistent flow of clients coming in and a nice consistent average income throughout the year. You really need to think of this as a war, not a battle. You need to constantly be monitoring this and making sure that you're avoiding these high peaks in these low troughs. If you hit these high peaks where you have a bunch of clients come to you all at once for work, then what happens is it quickly leads to a state of burnout. And I'll link a video on that here. I have an entire video on it and probably more on the channel to come in the future because this is such a near and dear topic to me. If you hit this stage of burnout, you really get in a bad place. You're just not feeling creative, you're not feeling like you want to do anything, and overall, it's just not healthy for you and your stress levels. And if you're not pacing yourself, you can quickly run into problems with friends and family and relationships in general. You slip into this state of being, of just being a workaholic, and you constantly are saying, well, I can't attend this event, or I can't do this, or I can't go out with you tonight because I've got so much work to do, and I have to get it done. I have to get this work done to pay my bills, right? As a beginning freelancer, it's especially easy to fall into this trap. I fell into this trap myself when I first started my career. I needed the money and I needed the work to build my portfolio, so I took on every possible thing I could. If it was a $10 logo design or a $100 website, and I should have been getting paid a lot more for either of those, I still took it on. I took on everything I could to help me build and pad and save in my bank account. And what happens if you take every single project that comes through the door? You just end up running on empty. You just end up constantly working. And I used to pride myself on running on an empty tank, and that I had, 6 Red Bulls that I had to drink in the day to be able to stay alive. That's not healthy. It's not good for your relationships. It's not good for your work. You're not giving your best creative effort. If you're constantly tired and you're running on empty, you're not producing your best work. And for all you new freelancers out there especially, don't think that you can get this complex of avoiding this. You might be able to do a 100-hour week or a couple 100-hour weeks and survive it, and you might be able to be this running on empty Red Bull fueled designer, but it will eventually catch up with you, and it's just not good for you long term. Fight this war, not the battle, throughout your career. Try to keep things consistent. It's better for you in the long term to keep your mental health in check and to keep you emotionally and physically and creatively in place. Tip number 2 here is to create an effective and efficient work stream for yourself. And what I mean by this is you want to constantly have this pool of clients that you can draw from when things happen. You just never know when stuff's going to happen in a freelance career. Like a pandemic. Who expected this? Nobody. This is causing clients to shut doors. This is causing people to lose their businesses. So you always want to have this client pool to choose from, to just grab one out and plug it in. You may have heard the old adage, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and this very much applies here. You don't want to have clients all weighted towards one industry or one sector, and you don't want to have a client that makes up 80% of your income. If that happens and they shut doors, it can just put you in a bad place emotionally, financially, and stress just shoots through the roof. And another part of this equation is to make sure that you're getting what you're worth, and I'll link another video on that here, whole entire video covering just this topic. But the idea here is you don't want to be focused on trying to get money from 6 different clients to make up what you really should be making for one client. If you are taking jobs, you're taking those $10 logo designs and the $100 website design, like I mentioned earlier, just because you want to fill out your work roster, that's a lot more stress and it's a lot more difficult to bring in a consistent income throughout the year instead of just finding that one premium client or a couple premium clients that will work with you long term and that will pay you what you're worth. Tip number 3 is to treat your clients with respect. And especially as a brand new freelancer, you may be like, well, doesn't everyone treat their clients with respect? Sadly, the answer is no. I've seen so many other creatives and designers and developers throughout my career that have treated their client like the enemy. What happens is they get really upset that they're getting too many emails. Maybe they're doing too many client jobs all at once, so they're just getting frazzled and they're letting the client pick up on this bad mojo. You always want to be treating your client clients with the utmost respect, because what that does is it creates a more solid, consistent, happy client that can sit in that pool of clients to choose from, but it also creates a referral system for you. If you're creating happy clients, you're creating clients that want to go to other friends, other businesses, and other companies and recommend you and tell them that, hey, this person did a great job and you should hire them for your next project. So the highlight of tip number 3 is that you want to treat your clients with respect. They don't care about what you have going on in your personal life. They don't care if you're overloading yourself and taking on too many jobs and you're frazzled. What they care about is they're paying you a good wage in order to provide them with a good product and a good solution. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to get those referrals and you're not going to have happy clients. Tip number 4, get paid what you're worth. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier on in the video, but the idea here is you should be getting paid your value. Don't want to be spreading yourself out over 3 or 4, 5, 10 clients all at once. I've done this just to make ends meet. Your goal here is to be getting paid what you're worth. That way you don't have to manage 3 or 4 different clients. You can just manage 1 or 2 and you can give them more of the attention that they deserve. Because when you're running on empty and you're managing 6, 7 different clients, you aren't able to attend all the meetings that you should be. Meetings overlap. You have to cancel one or you have to skip out on one. And overall, that just makes you not as good of a designer, a developer, or creative, and you're not giving that client the attention that they're paying for and that they deserve. So get your value, get paid what you're worth, and really try to reduce some of this overhead of additional client work that you really don't need to be taking on. Tip number 5 is to do your freaking books. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way. As a new freelancer, you may not be aware of this, but you obviously have to pay taxes. Uncle Sam wants their money, and they don't take money out of a 1099 contract. If you make $75 an hour, they give you $75 an hour. So come April 15th, you need to be paying your taxes, like 20, 30% at least. Can't tell you how many April 15ths I had. I still get shivers from that date because I would get up to April 15th and I wouldn't have my books done. I'd have to sit there and figure out all my taxes and all my receipts. And then worse, I didn't have the money sometimes that I needed to pay that. So I would have to scramble in order to pay my taxes. Set aside a 20%, a 30% chunk every single contract you get. Start a separate business account and a bank account in order to flow all of the money through that so it's easier at the end of the year. Do all of your purchases and all of your receipts through that bank account so it's much easier to keep track of at the end of the year and sort through. Keeping better books and keeping better paperwork helps you get to this point where you're comfortable with tax time, you're not freaking out, and you have all of your ducks in a row and you're able to just pull everything out, give it to your accountant or do the taxes yourself, and you're on your way to the next year. Tip number 6 is to have a portfolio site for yourself. And this goes for really any industry, any career. If you're a designer, a developer, a musician, a life coach, UI, UXer, it doesn't really matter. You should have a portfolio to showcase your work and to talk a little bit about who you are and what your values and your goals are when you're working for your next client. This is often the first point of contact for you for new potential clients that are coming in from Google or YouTube or wherever to make a purchasing decision essentially about whether or not to hire you. If you're one of these fields that are outside of maybe UI, UX or graphic design, you can just use something like Squarespace or Wix or one of these template-driven website builders. That will help you build something quickly and get up and running without too much work or having to pay someone to help you build this. But if you're a UI UX designer or maybe a graphic designer, you want your portfolio to sing. You want this to be your best representation of yourself because this is what you do. And clients are going to be making decisions on whether or not to hire you or interview you or hire you for a full-time role based off of this website. So you really want a UI UX portfolio to sing and to showcase some of your best work. Tip number 7 here to round things out, you want to make sure to always be leveling up. It's far too easy when we're on a long-term contract or we've been at a job. This applies to both freelance and really a full-time gig. It's far too easy just to get complacent with your skills. Most of the creative industries, the design, the development industries move super fast at light speed, and it's way too easy to get behind on skills and trends and tools in the industry, which puts you at a disadvantage for that next job. Just think back to things like Flash. When I first started college, I was getting taught Flash, and Flash was out of style then, but I was still getting that spoon-fed to me in school, which still irritates me to this day that I paid for this degree to learn Flash. So I took the initiative to teach myself other stuff. So I started learning web design and HTML and CSS and some of the preprocessors that were just coming out at the time. Moral of the story is if I didn't take the initiative to teach myself here and that I didn't stay on top of trends and I didn't stay on top of technologies, I would have fell behind and I would have been behind right out the gate as soon as I left and graduated. It's important to always be learning. It's important to always be leveling leveling up your skills, and you don't want to get behind because it always just puts you in a bad place when it comes to that next contract. So an extra bonus tip, or I guess request maybe from me, is if you think that you have a designer friend, a developer friend, or really any freelance professional out there that might benefit from this video, please share this. Please give this to them. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. If I would have had this when I first started in my career and I would have had someone lay this on my lap and be like, here's the 7 golden rules of freelancing and what you can do to become a better freelancer long-term, I would have absolutely eaten this up. If you know anyone, just share the video, get it out there, and help out your friends and family. Thanks for joining me here again today. I hope you got value out of this one. Like I said, this would have been a great video for me early on in my career. So if you got value, please like and subscribe and hit that bell notification if you want to be notified of future videos, and share this out. Share it out to friends and family. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day.